Welcome back to Kings at the Table podcast, where if you're a king, you belong at the table. Isaiah, man, let's get into the MVP talks because it's starting to heat up a bit, especially with how Anthony Edwards has been playing.
Oh, yeah, Anthony Edwards has been going nuts lately. I know you seen that dunk last night.
Man, that has to be the dunk of the year.
It has to.
As of now.
Yeah. Oh, well, it was two last night that were kind of crazy.
I missed the other one.
Yeah. What was it? Jalen Johnson?
Yeah.
From the Hawks? Yeah. Oh, my God. Both of those were nasty. So.
Hey, Reeves was like, you didn't want to see what I saw on that play. And I'm like, hell no, I don't.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, let's get into the fact that there's four guys on the top of the MVP talks. I mean, you got Jokic, Shea, Luka, and Giannis. And what all four of them have in common are they're international guys that came to America, and now they're the top four guys in the MVP talks. Now, Isaiah, what does that speak as far as how the game is evolving around the world?
It shows that everybody's trying to catch up to the United States. And it's showing how hard all these other countries are working to be better than us now in the sport that we basically made popular. So we're going to have to step it up or they're going to take over.
Yeah, and the thing is, as far as how this second dream team, or third, you could even say the third dream team of what they're trying to put together to go into the Olympics, I mean, is that going to be a statement to the world? Like, hold on. I mean, I get you guys got those guys around the world, but don't forget America that's our sport.
Yeah, basketball is the mecca here. So hopefully these guys get into this USA and Olympic tournament and they realize what they're playing for now, because it was easy when we were the best. Now, since the game has expanded and all these kids grew up watching the Kobes and the Michael Jordans in France and all these other places around the world, they're hungry. And they're coming here to take people's spots.
And again, we're not saying that we don't want to see it. I mean, we love to see it. Yeah. But the thing is, we need to get back to taking over.
Yeah, being as dominant as we used to be.
And I think Edwards is kind of showing that. Yeah. Like, I want to be the face of the NBA. I mean, I feel like that's what he's showing, and I haven't seen that in a long time. I mean, I can't even say that. LeBron, I mean, obviously his talent shows it.
Yes.
But Anthony's going and saying, I want it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. His play shows it. It's not his talent that's showing it. He's going out here every night, and he's proven why, like, two-way players are what's needed in the NBA right now, because a lot of teams aren't playing defense, and a lot of star players are just out here, I guess, getting buckets, because that's what everybody wants to do. But seeing two-way players right now trying to take over this game is nice.
Definitely. And when you say Luka and Giannis, I mean, which one of the two would you lean towards as being more of a face of the NBA? And that's not even knocking Jokic, because we obviously know he won the championship, but I think he's harder to market.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't want to be the face. He's one of those talents that he doesn't mind it. You can tell by in the offseason. He just wants to go home, chill with his horses.
I was gonna say his horses,
yeah, and just relax. So I feel like Luka's a dog. I feel like it's hard because Giannis is very marketable too. He's funny. Giannis is a character.
I was gonna say that.
So it's hard to not like him. But the other one is Shea, and he took the league by storm this year.
Oh, hell yeah.
And he's proven that he's one of the top point guards in the NBA. And he deserves to at least a nod to be the face of the NBA.
Well, then let me ask you this, because Shea and Edwards are probably the two guys that are coming.
Yep.
If you had to choose one to start a team, who are you rolling with? It's obviously a thin line.
Yeah, very, very thin.
That's a tough one.
I'm going to take Anthony Edwards, though. I'm rocking with Anthony Edwards.
I am too.
Yeah, I like his game. I like the way he carries himself on the court. He doesn't back down from no one. Not saying Shea backs down, but Edwards is just a dog. Like, he got it in him.
That it.
Yeah.
He has it, man. I mean,
he got it in him.
And obviously the looks of him looking like Jordan, I'm not going to lie. There's times I'm like, bruh, it's like I'm almost watching Jordan. in a way. I mean, obviously, it's a high,
that's
ceiling.
That's big shoes to fill.
But I'm like, he looks just like him. He's doing these fadeaways.
Man.
He's that rundown block where his head was above the rim.
Man.
Bro, that might, to me, be the play of the year. Like, that was to win the game.
To win. Yeah.
Like, bro, when was the last time you seen a defensive game winner?
Yeah.
And he risked himself the way he landed. He could have got injured.
Oh, he definitely don't care about his well-being when he jumped, because the way he jumped last night, the way he jumped off 2 feet from how far he jumped from, he knew either I'm finna make this or I'm finna get hurt. I mean, but he did both. He ended up making it and getting hurt. But the fact that he tried that, knowing that there was a body underneath him, oh my God, like he's it. That's what I keep saying.
Hell yeah. Well, let's mention some of the other guys that are in there. I mean, you got Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, and Brunson. Now, out of those guys, I mean, obviously, Brunson doesn't get the recognition a lot. Not sure why. I mean, obviously, it's a big market. But how do you feel about just how Brunson is moving there?
He's showing that he needed to get from under Luka's shadow too. Like, he's proven that he can carry a team, and he's showing that, like, he reminds me a lot of Allen Iverson. Just the way it's like, I'm small, but I got so many ways to get to the basket and so many different ways to score that you're either gonna have to lay me down on the ground or I'm gonna give you 50.
For sure. Now that you kind of compared it to Iverson, I kind of started thinking of Chauncey Billups, kind of a bigger body, but again, he's clutch too.
Yeah,
I mean, you used to call Billups Mr. Clutch.
Big shot.
There you go. But Brunson, there's something of just how, obviously, a player's coach, or is that how you say it?
Yeah.
The son of a coach.
Yeah, son of a coach.
So he just understood it from a younger age, and he speaks on it a lot about how his dad helped him learn the fundamentals and the ins and the outs, and you can kind of just see he's a coach on the court.
Yeah.
And that's huge from a point guard because,
definitely.
I mean, you have the ball in your hands the whole time.
You're definitely the extension of the coach out there.
When it comes to MVPs, he definitely needs to be in the talks.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, like you said, because it's a big market. The Knicks play on ESPN and ABC at least every other week. So he's getting the eyes on them, the national eyes on them. So I think it's also just because, like we talked about, we got those 4 or 5 people at the top where it's like,
who are you gonna?
Yeah, who is he gonna replace? That's ahead of him. When you look at it, even Kevin Durant, like, even though the Suns are sliding, I feel like Durant does more for his team than Jalen Brunson does for the Knicks.
Oh, that's a close one too. But since you mentioned Durant, I mean, let's get into the Suns real quick because, I mean, you talked about it prior about how hard their schedule is going to be at the end.
Yeah.
And I looked up their schedule, and you have a great point.
Yeah. I think it's like their next 2 games, they play like the Sixers and the Hawks. So those are still tough games. You've seen the Sixers play the Heat, pretty tough. And then the Hawks just beat, who was that they beat like 2 days ago? I think it was...
Oh, I just forgot.
It was somebody that they weren't supposed to beat.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank.
Then they got the Spurs back-to-back, which, I mean, they got to win those 2.
They got to win those 2 because after that, it's a gauntlet.
The gauntlet starts.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how they're right now in the 7th seed? 8th seed.
So the 7th, 8th, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th seed is all pretty much the same seed right now. So if they start to lose a couple of those games that start happening in that gauntlet, they're probably dropped.
Yeah, for sure. What is it about the Suns right now, though? Because obviously you haven't had the 3 guys together the whole time as far as Beal, Booker, and Durant. But you got some solid role players. Yep. I mean, you got Nurkic, Grayson Allen, O'Neal, Gordon. But I think one thing they're missing, obviously, I mean, I've heard people already talk about it, is they don't have a true point guard.
Yeah.
And they don't need to be that top-tier point guard, but a point guard that understands to distribute the ball around, like a Rondo. And it's not going to be Rondo, but a guy that's just going to be You're open,
Yeah.
shoot it. You
Yeah.
feel me? I'm not here to score. I'm here to make sure the team is.
Didn't they just sign Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day?
They did.
So, yeah, that could possibly be it right there. If it can come in and at least be I don't want to say a shell of himself, but at least be formidable to play in the NBA, then they might have a decent point guard to help them in the playoffs.
And he just went straight from the couch, went to the G League, and had like 4 straight games with 30 points. It's like, how hasn't he been on a team? And I was asking for the Kings to call. I mean, give him a call and bring him in as it's not just on the court, but the leadership. I mean, he's a veteran. He's been through it. He was in the MVP talks at one point. He's going to be huge for the Suns.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And people
are
not even mentioning his name at all. And it's like, all right.
That's what made me dive into their schedule. Once they signed him to that 10-day, I started to look into like, oh man, like they trying to make that run. Like you see, like they realize like, okay, if we are gonna do this coming up with the games we have to play, we have to have somebody that can be in control of the ball and also go get a bucket whenever we need them to. And with the 3 that you said hasn't had too much time together on the court with Bill Booker and Kevin Durant, you know, that kind of throws off the chemistry. So you need a veteran like that can settle them down and figure out what's going on and be able to manipulate the game in a way that they need.
Now, the thing that I'm going to ask is defensively, though. Like, I get you're going to be putting up these buckets, but are they going to be able to get those stops in the clutch moments when you're going against the Denver Nuggets with Jokic and Jamal Murray pick and roll? I mean, I'm not saying that any defense could stop them because obviously you saw that they were unstoppable last year.
Yep.
But at the same time, that's your conference. So are you going to just obviously try to outscore them? You know, that's the way to win the game. But I'm saying as far as offensively, that's the only thing you probably couldn't do.
I mean, some teams understand that in that matchup, there's nothing you can do. So you're gonna have to just put up points. You do the best you can on defense and hope that your shots are falling. Because if your shots aren't falling, then you're in for a long night.
Yeah, and you know who's been in for a long night, long season is these damn Warriors. Yeah, they're kind of struggling right now, and it's like we haven't seen this in maybe 10 years,
10, 12 years, something like that.
So it's kind of, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what's going on there? You got the same guys. I know we understand that they're older now, but I think there's more than just the players that are there. I think it's something in the locker room, if you ask me. I don't know if Kerr is losing the locker room, but to me, it doesn't look like Klay's happy.
No, he's definitely not. But you also have to realize that Klay isn't the Klay he used to be.
Correct.
So, I mean, you got to sacrifice something if you're not able to perform the way that you were performing in that dynasty when you guys were winning games. So, I feel like with the Warriors, they got to make a decision, and they got to figure out what direction they're going to go in, because right now they're still trying to do what they did 10, 12 years ago. It's not working. The league finally caught up to them, and they have to try something new or enhance what they're doing. And right now they're in a limbo of that, and it's just not working for them.
Are you saying as far as putting Klay on the bench, or
I'm just talking about as far as the way they play with the 2 shooters and the Draymond Green, who's not really a scorer, but he's just a rebounder, and he's a playmaker, but he's not really giving you much on offense. He's just there.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so I feel like once they lost Andre Iguodala, that's when you start to slowly see how important he was to that team and how much he was in everybody's ear talking about, no, this is how you do it. No, this is how we gonna do it. Defensively, this is how we gonna play. And Draymond's trying to fill those shoes, and he's falling short. He can't do it.
Because he leads in a different way, though. It's a whole different leading thing that Draymond does. Draymond's more of in your face and thick skin. You know, you better be ready when I'm talking to you. It's not It's not this for the soft world.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like,
It's
man
not
up.
approachable. It's just, like you said, straightforward.
Yeah, straightforward. There we go. But at the same time, I mean, you got Chris Paul that they just signed. They were probably thinking he was going to be the Iguodala vocally, and I never really thought that was a good match because they're way different.
Yep.
I mean, you can't put Chris Paul and Draymond this late in their careers. I mean, you can't see eye to eye with someone you're not the same with. If
I
that
feel
makes
like
sense.
Chris Paul is a very hard person to get along with in general. I've seen a lot of stuff that say a lot of players say that he's just a hard guy to get along with in general, and it's crazy that they thought that like you said, that was going to solve it, but you can tell it's not working. The experiment went wrong, and I feel like that's why their old GM, he got up out of there as fast as possible when he seen that it was like, oh no, like this ain't direction I want to go in, so let me wash my hands clean of this real quick before it goes bad.
Everybody saw that.
Yeah.
Like once he left, you're like, what are you leaving for?
Yeah.
Like the writing's on the wall. He's like, just like you said, the fire was already started.
Yep.
Let me get out before it's too late. Mm-hmm. And that was a smart move. But I mean, let's just get a little deeper into the Warriors because they do got a guy like Kuminga, and I think we both already kind of covered how big he is to them.
Yes.
But do you believe he's going to take that step this playoffs? I mean, could be just playing, but is he going to take that step?
I feel like he is, but because he's been taking the step all year, I just feel like they don't have enough to where even him taking that step is going to make them a contending team. If anything, if he does take that step, then they're going to have to try to figure out a way not to build around him, but to make him like a supplemental part of the offense. Because you can't have him be the third, fourth option if he's producing the way he's producing.
No, I agree. He should be the second right now.
Yeah.
Right after Curry.
Yep.
And that's if you want to potentially even make him one and let just the focus be on him and have Curry, Clay, and everybody else just running around.
Especially with the way their season is going. It's you got to start experimenting somehow.
For sure. Well, let's get into another team that's experimenting is the Knicks because they have some guys that are injured in Randall and Robinson. But yeah, at the same time, this team is beating these not top, but some West Coast guys in the Kings and the Warriors in back-to-back nights.
Yep.
And the Knicks right now are in the 4th seed and 2 games back from the 3 seed. We kind of talked about the Knicks before already.
Yep.
But just the fact that these guys are missing 2 top guys defensively and still getting these wins.
Yeah, they're a physical team. They're going to come in and bully you. They're not going to let you get to your spots. Like we said, it seems like the East Coast is a lot more physical than the West Coast over here, and it shows when especially when I watch the Kings play. I know we're talking about the Knicks, but I'm just saying you see that physicality in the East Coast when I'm able to sit down and watch the Kings play. And with the Knicks, like we were talking about Brunson earlier, that guy, if you don't stop him, he can give you 50.
Oh, yeah.
He can give you 50.
Yeah, he gave us 40 easily.
Easily. And it was an easy 40.
Yup.
He was like 4 for 5 from the 3 and like did it on like 14 or 20 something shooting and just like it's like, come on, man, that's ridiculous. But I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks in the East.
One thing about the Knicks, I mean, shout out to Ernest. I went to the Kings-Knicks game, and it was an OG from New York, and he's a diehard Knicks fan, season ticket holder, and we were just talking ball the whole game, and it was pretty cool to conversate with somebody that's a Knicks fan that's diehard.
Yeah.
And he was basically going in about how Jalen Brunson need way more love for the MVP talks. And I was hearing him out, and he was like, look, you can name Jokic, you can name Giannis, you can name all these guys, but look at Brunson and who he has and all the guys that have been hurt and carrying the Knicks. When was the last time you heard of the Knicks like you're hearing them now?
Yeah.
He's like, this dude deserves MVP talks. So he was very like, Brunson is that dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I hear you. That's what's up. But I mean, obviously, I went back and I told him Jokic, I don't want to get sidetracked.
All the people we talked about in the beginning,
But the thing I like about the Knicks is the refs respect it.
Yeah.
And I seen that big time on that game because I was just sitting there like, I like this.
Yeah.
They're letting them play. And I'm like, that's the type of basketball that should be happening. That's me. That's the basketball I like.
Yeah.
And it's just, they were letting them play big time.
Yeah, you definitely seen it. Like I said, when they played the Kings, they came in the first 3 quarters and they set the tone for the game. And the refs realized, like, we can't call all these fouls. There's no way we're going to call every single foul. So some stuff is going to, we're going to have to let it go. So we're going to have to swallow our whistle a little bit, because if we call it too much, then we'll be here all night. So let's play basketball.
I love it.
Yeah, that's how I go.
Real quick though, because obviously you got Cleveland, Bucks, and Boston ahead of them. Who can you see them upsetting if they were to meet with those top 3 teams? If
when healthy, I can see them getting the Cavs and the Bucks. I don't see them beating Boston, but the Bucks got a little bit of chink in their armor. They showing a little bit of weakness. So I think they can get the Bucks and the Cavs.
I'm gonna sound a little crazy, man, but I think the Knicks could upset Boston. And I've been saying it all year, like, Boston is that team. I'm not taking it away. You're gonna be like, this dude's crazy. No, I'm saying how the Knicks play. That's old school playoffs. Boston and New York. Yeah. Oh my God, that's selling tickets.
That's definitely good for that. That's good for the NBA.
They need
that's historic right there.
Historic. There we go. And it's not just that. The Knicks, they're that team this year. Like, I think they're sleeping on them. They're the sleeping giant. Like,
there you go.
Okay, wait till the playoffs start. We're gonna be like, oh man, how are we gonna score against this team? Yeah. Now I get that Boston has this complete team, and I'm not taking away from Boston, because I got them making the finals, but I think the Knicks can upset them. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that'll be wild.
That's a good team though.
Yeah.
Let's get into our Kings, Isaiah. As far as these last couple games, I mean, the last 9 games we're 6-3.
6-3. Yep, in the month of March, I think.
And hold on, let me pull up some King stuff real quick. What do you have as how we're playing recently, though?
It's still hit or miss. Like, it's hard to. We're a good team. We're not a great team. So I feel like great teams, when they play teams like the Grizzlies, who are playing 8 people, like they're literally playing everybody that suited up that night. Like, you gotta blow them out. You can't take that game to overtime. Great teams blow that team out and worry about the next game in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was too close for comfort.
Yeah, good teams figure out a way to pull out a close game, even though it's not even supposed to be close. So if we can't figure out how to be a great team, it's going to hurt us in the playoffs, because we're going to run up against some great teams.
Yeah. One thing I got, Isaiah, just real quick, how far, like, I don't want to like you to just start predicting, but just realistically right now, if I were to say, all right, Isaiah, put $1 million on the line, how far do you see the Kings going in the playoffs?
First ask who's the first round matchup.
Okay.
And I would pray. Like, I'm just all about improvement. So if we make it to the second round this year, then I think this year was a success. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, the Kings need to make it to the finals, because then I feel like I'm not being realistic, because we don't have a finals winning team, I don't think, at this moment. But as long as we are competitive in the first round, like I said last year, us just being competitive last year was a success to me.
Oh, hell yeah.
But now this year, if we can be competitive in the first round and actually win and get to the second round and remain competitive in the second round, then it's a success. So I would put money on them making it to the second round at least.
Okay, so see, I respect that. And when I hear that, I'm like, okay, so then maybe our fan base should start holding them to that level of where they're going to reach. Because I think what our fan base does is, like, we love our team so much that we think that we're going to make the finals, even though we don't believe it. Just watching every game, we're like, fuck, how the hell did we lose that game? Well, we don't really think they're going to make it that far.
Yeah.
So I think our fan base should just tone it down a bit. So I get what you're saying about the Grizzlies game. I really do. Like, how the hell are you struggling against the Grizzlies? But one thing we got to remember is good teams still pull off that win.
Yeah.
And we got that win.
Yep.
And we are 6-3 in the last 9 games. And
Yep.
it's like, hold on. We're playing like the
playing
level
good.
of what we're thinking we're gonna be.
We're playing good.
The second round.
Yeah.
So what I hear a lot from, like, I get DMs on Instagram saying, man, we suck. We can't be looking like this. And I'm like, I get the frustration, but it's like, where do you really think we're gonna go in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta have realistic expectations. You can't sit here and every year think, oh, we're going to the finals, we're gonna win it, just because it took us 16 years just to get there.
That's my thing.
So let's take this thing slow. Let's understand that there's going to be growing pains, and when we look back on this time when we are making it to the finals, it's going to be like, oh, that's why we wasn't making it to the finals.
Exactly. And
that's what we were missing.
it's kind of how the Nuggets went about it. Like, they were losing all the time in the first round, the second round. Then they got to the Western Conference. Let's just trust the process and enjoy the hopefully if we ever get there, we're like, man, like I remember this year and how we kept improving, and we slowly figured it out, and we finally got that one guy to say yes to a free agent contract, and he decided to come to Sacramento, and then boom, and like it's bound to happen. You see it in the city. The city is like a volcano right now, and it's just waiting. It's just waiting to just go boom. Yeah, and we are like a college fan base.
Oh yeah. So once the Kings actually make it to the finals, it's going to be crazy out here, bro.
Oh, definitely.
They're shutting down. Sacramento's shutting down.
But real quick though, because at the same time, I'm in a group text with Kings fans, and they call me Optimistic Rich, obviously, because all I ever do is talk positive, bro, because that's all I ever know nowadays. And one thing I want to say though is I believe that the Western Conference Finals isn't that far out of reach.
No.
Like, I believe till this day, even though we look like that against these sorry teams, when we play these good teams, we don't ever look like that.
Yeah, we figure out a way to win.
Exactly. And at the same time, it's like you're not going to play these weak teams in the playoffs. So I've said it before, and I'm going to have to repeat it, because once the playoffs comes, I feel like this team is just waiting for the playoffs. Like this last year in the playoffs, how the fans were involved.
Yeah.
Bro, like, it is next level.
Yeah.
So when you're playing in the regular season, you don't feel that excitement.
Yeah.
Even though you're at home and you're playing these games, you win a couple, you lose some. But for the fans to boo, it's like, come on, dog. Yeah. Even Monk talked about it, like, I don't like the booing.
Yeah.
Like, how y'all booing us? Wait till we get to the playoffs. If we looking like trash in the playoffs, go ahead and boo us.
Yeah. I agree. I don't really like the booing either. I think that people need to understand that it's a sport. So sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. It's games you win, it's games you lose. But it's fans. Fans is short for fanatics, so they get like that. So
yeah,
they just gotta understand, like I said, realistic expectations. Some people don't have those. Some people want the world, and it just don't work that way.
But you also have a side that where you believe they can make the Western Conference.
Oh yeah, if we get it together, if we play our game, if we play fast, if we play defense, and if we can knock down our threes, we can beat anybody.
There we go.
We can beat anybody, but we can also lose to anybody too if we're not hitting our threes, if we don't play defense, and we're playing to the level of the competition, or we're letting the competition set the pace of the game. We need to learn how to be we need to learn how to be the pace setters. We need to learn how to go out there and be like, this is how we're playing. Ref, figure it out, like the Knicks did to us. Figure it out, and by the end of the game, the game is already established to the point where we're comfortable in what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a great point. And being comfortable in what you're doing, I have to bring up Keon Ellis.
Yes.
Because he's comfortable on our team, and I love it, because every time he starts, obviously he's undefeated, but he's a huge piece to us going forward.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the Kevin Huerter injury. So he's gonna have to step up. So he just signed the contract to be in the NBA. That's how sometimes it works.
It's crazy. What is it about Keon that you see that maybe other fans are not seeing yet in Keon and are barely starting to see it, if that makes sense.
He doesn't take a play off. That's one thing. He never takes plays off. Even when he makes a mistake, it's because he was moving too fast. It's because he was trying to get to the spot. It was because he was thinking about the layup before he caught the ball, or just little stuff like that. But once he slows the game down in his head, then I feel like, and you get glimpses of that in the game where, ooh, that was a nice move. Oh my God, nice pass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you took your time on that one. Like, and he's not afraid. That's one thing I like. He's not afraid to shoot. He even knowing that he's not the greatest shooter, he'll take the open shot.
Yeah. One thing I got to mention is he came from the G League. I mean, he was from Alabama college, and he made the roster, got minutes, little minutes, started earning more. Two-way contract, and now he was starting at one point undefeated as a starter, and I'm like, that's the story you want on your team, because that's the guy that's going to go out there and show you that he's earning these minutes. And when you earn minutes, that's where the team starts wanting to earn themselves the minutes. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's contagious. There we go. Because like Mitchell, Mitchell's starting to step up now.
Yeah,
and I'm loving that, because he's Mike Brown was really tough on Mitchell all season. Tough, like, damn, he's treating them like, I don't really want you on the team, and we might want to trade you. And now it's like, okay, Mitchell's understanding the trade block is over. I might be that dude on the 6th, 7th man.
Yeah, definitely.
Rotation.
And now, like I said, since Kevin Huerter's hurt, everybody has to step up. And this month, like the last couple games, Chris Duarte has come in and gave some valuable minutes and knocked down some shots. And so I don't want to say the injury is a blessing in disguise, but it seems like that's the way we need to play to get everybody else to play defense, because we can score. We can score points. We've been saying that. We know we can score points. We need to stop people from scoring. And I hate sometimes watching the game and people just keep getting easy buckets. It's like they're not trying. Because I was at what game was that I went to? I went to the Bulls game. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just watching how they gave up so many easy buckets at the end of the game, it's like, I think, who was that? I can't think of it. Adasumu or number 12?
Kobe White, where he went off.
Yeah, he did go off. But I'm just talking about how, I think it's number 12. His first, 10 points were layups. All layups. And it's like, come on, bro. You can't do that. Like, you can't give that up.
Nah.
And we give that up constantly. So it's like, if we can just buckle down on the defensive end, we'll be all right.
And that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. And that's where Keon Ellis comes in. That's where Chris Duarte comes in.
Mitchell.
That's where Davion Mitchell comes in. They got to step up now. Because everybody was talking about, what if they started Keon instead of Huerter? Now they have no choice. So now we're going to see what everybody
been wanting. Yeah, and we're obviously not going to be able to see Huerter for maybe a week or two. I think it was a sprain.
Yeah.
But hopefully he comes back sooner than later. But like you said, it might just be a blessing in disguise as far as putting Keon in that starting spot without making it like, oh, we chose you over Huerter. But now he can earn that and keep it. And that would be huge.
Going into the playoff.
Keon Ellis as a starter? Bro, that's a story right there.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a story on ABC, ESPN, or whatever.
Once the playoffs come, this guy literally just earned the starting spot. And I love hearing stories like that again. But these next couple games are in the East Coast. We're going to Toronto, Washington, and then Orlando. What do you think about those?
We play pretty good on the road. So hopefully Toronto and Washington are teams that are bottom tier in the East, so hopefully we can get some wins there, even though we don't play good against the bad teams. So hopefully we can get some wins there, and then we got to step up for that Orlando game, because I know Orlando has our number. When they came in, we beat them in overtime, and they feel like they should have won that game. So they gonna come for us.
Orlando.
So we got to be ready. Yeah.
Do you think that the Toronto and Washington should for sure be wins,
Yes,
right?
those should be wins. Though we need to win those games.
And again, we don't really show up against these bad teams, but I feel like when we're on the road, we show up a little more.
A little bit more. I feel like when we're at home and we play the bad teams, our crowd isn't enough to get them up to want to play. But I feel like shutting up other crowds and getting to hear Light the Beam in other arenas, that gives them some juice.
Yeah.
They like that. But we got to figure it out. We can't keep dropping games at home. I said that earlier too. We got to protect home court. Because when it comes to the playoffs, that's what we're going to have to do, protect home court.
And then the good thing is, I mean, obviously you got those 3 road games, and then from there you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home games. So we got to take care of this road trip.
And we got to make sure we split with Dallas or go 2-0. We cannot.
Oh, hell yeah.
We can't lose 0-2 to Dallas.
We usually split with them.
Yeah.
I feel like every year when I think we always play them back to back.
Ooh, but that first game is coming off a back-to-back. So that first game is the second game of a back-to-back.
That's true. And that's the Sixers, too.
Yep. So that's going to be a tough physical game against the Sixers, and then we got to turn around and play the Mavericks.
But how about being on TV, though? NBA TV, TNT, NBA TV, 3 games in a row.
We got to show out.
It's time.
This will be the perfect time to hit that switch.
Yeah.
Mike Brown said we'll figure out who we are towards the end of the season, and we're here now, so we got to turn that switch on and become a great team, not a good team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that might just be it for this one. We'll get into it more depth next week. But Isaiah, what do we always say on this show? If you're a king, you belong at the table. Gone.